Just a quick update for those of you who plan on visiting. In Japan, we get earthquakes. We get obviously tsunamis, typhoons, things like that. Fun stuff. But we have earthquakes here. And where I'm from, Southern California, we say we have earthquakes in Southern California. We don't really have earthquakes, okay? We'd probably get a noticeable one once or twice a year, as far as I can remember. And since I've been here, we get earthquakes on a weekly basis, pretty much. So far, none while I'm teaching, which is good, but there have been a few during the day at school, and there's quite a few at night, in the morning. I swear, it's pretty much any time, earthquakes. So just be aware that it could happen. And differences between school in Japan and school in America. First of all, there's a big difference in respect for the classroom as a whole. Teachers would bow before entering and when exiting the classroom. That was especially demonstrated on math day, when we didn't have doors on some of the classrooms. The people who were walking in and out constantly bow when you enter, bow when you leave. It's just a sign of respect, I think. And another thing that we have here, which we actually practice in my Japanese class in America, but they call it aisatsu, which is greeting in Japanese. It's basically, before the class starts, the students will stand up, bow to their teacher, and sit down and say a few words. The most common one that I hear at my school, and this may be different from between school to school, when the bell rings, the students say "Kiritsu," so stand up. "Kyotsuke," basically I translate that to attention. "Korekara 1時間目の授業を始めます." First period is now beginning. And then they bow. Rei. And then chakusek. Sit down. And this may be different depending on different locations. I know some of my other ALTs around here, the students don't do that, or not all of them do that. I think one of the main differences is that I actually go to the students, to their classrooms, to teach them. I have an English room, but we don't use it. So the kids are all sitting at desks. So there's a little more structure to the classroom. Whereas in the English room, usually there's no desks, so the kids are just sitting on the floor, and I've heard mixed reviews about that. And another thing that I noticed, here we get a lot of weather. And coming from Southern California, where we basically just have one season, which is awesome the whole year round, here we actually have rain and wind and, a hot and a cold season. So everything here is a little bit more weathered than it would be compared to where I came from. So originally it kind of put me off a little bit, like this place is run down, but it's not so much run down as it is well used. Because every day the kids clean the classrooms, they clean the hallways, they clean the bathrooms, they clean the teacher's room, they clean the whole school, they clean outside, they rake the leaves, they sweep. It's really interesting. And whether they like it or not, obviously, some kids don't like it, some kids do. It's the fact that they do it every day. And I think it would make them take a little more pride in their school because they're the ones responsible for general cleaning of it. So, if it looks like crap, it's only because it's their own fault, sort of. I don't know. And yeah, technology. I found it very interesting that people were so excited to tell me, "Oh man, Kevin, your school is so advanced. They got all kinds of technology." I'm thinking, okay. We have smart boards. I don't know if you know what those are, but they are like pretty much really big touch screens. Big touch screen. But it's displaying what you're displaying on your computer is projected on the touch screen, and you use a wand to, control that. So it's super advanced, right? But the thing is our computers are like Intel Centrino processors from like 2002. And their laptops to top it off. So if you're trying to do any type of animated thing, like we have videos that we play, songs that are on the computer, and they have like visualizations that go along with it, But the computers are so slow that it just lags and it's pretty much pointless. Everyone encourages me to use the smart boards because it's great. It really is good for the kids. You know, they can see things and it's an image, so they'll pay attention to it. And they can actually touch the screen with a wand, and it's really interactive, so it's awesome. It's just our computers are so slow that it's almost comical being in the classroom when you're watching something on the screen and the sound is 3 seconds ahead of the video. It almost defeats the whole purpose because they're paying attention more to the fact that there's a mismatch and it's funny rather than to the actual information that's being presented. Yes. And another note, here we use what's called a chalkboard. For those of you who may not be familiar with it, it's what we had before the whiteboards in America. I don't know if it's just one of those it's not broken so don't fix it things, but everybody uses chalk here still. At least all the schools in my district. I don't know about the high schools, but elementary and junior high definitely still use chalk. It's like going in a time machine. I haven't used chalk since first grade, maybe, around that time. And one other thing about the kids in school, at least in my elementary school, you know, there's always going to be the outgoing kids who volunteer for everything. There's going to be the kids who know the answer but don't volunteer. And then there's going to be the people who just never, ever do anything in your class. And I try my best to get those kids involved. But it seems like by about 3rd to 4th grade, most of the kids have kind of found their place in the classroom. And so 1st grade, it's okay. Everybody's super happy all the time. Everybody wants to volunteer. Even if they get it wrong, it doesn't matter. They're just having fun learning English, right? 2nd grade, pretty much the same. They're a little smarter though. There is a difference, a big difference between 1st and 2nd graders. And then by 3rd grade, you kind of start seeing there's a couple quiet kids in every class. 4th grade, about the same thing at my school. There's a few, usually it's boys who just volunteer for everything. They don't care if they're right or wrong. They just want the attention. And then 5th grade, you're going to have like 4 people in every class who know the answer and they want to give it to you every single time. And it's tough. And then we get to 6th grade. Oh God. One of my 6th grade classes, I could offer them $1 million and nobody would raise their hand. I could say, "Who wants free money?" And everybody would just look at each other like, "What? No, I don't want to raise my hand. I don't want people to look at me. I don't want people to see me. Like, what is going on?" I know some of the kids, there's a lot of social pressure and things like that once you get older in Japan. But I guess you have to try many different things to adapt your lessons to the kids you're teaching to, because like I said, one of my classes, just nobody wants to volunteer. The teacher calls on people. I call on people. When we're playing games and things like that, obviously people volunteer. But it's just, sometimes it's kind of tough. So I'm learning how to present the material in a way that gives them enough confidence in what they know to actually raise their hand. But it's just really interesting to see how every single grade level, how the kids kind of fill their roles in the classroom. Time for me to eat some food.